Chayv, you have a few minutes after class, or are you rushing out today? Okay.
Okay, but Linda, I'm still,
Okay.
I have to be.
Whenever you're ready.
Thank you.
Okay.
But you're going when you come. I figure when you come back.
Okay. So we'll have class next Tuesday morning, and then Tuesday night I'm actually leaving for a couple of weeks, going to the East Coast. So then we'll resume again. We'll miss 2 Tuesdays and then resume after that. So next Tuesday we're on. The 2 Tuesdays, the 5th we're on. 12th and 19th we're off. 26th we're on. Okay? Let us go to Parshat Shlach, page 798. Dov, thank you for the setup over here. Okay, so we discussed last week that this latter part of Sefer Bamidbar is where we start to unravel to a certain degree. Okay, we are no longer, things are not ketikanan, are not going in their proper way. We start to unravel. I always translate for you, don't worry. Don't get nervous.
I don't even remember what you said before in Hebrew. I don't remember what it means in English. Sefer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That the latter part of the book of Bamidbar, Sefer is a book. Like a Sefer Torah is the book of the Torah. Right? The latter part of the book of Bamidbar is where we have mucho problemos. Okay?
I don't speak Spanish, but mucho problemos.
That one we got. Better than the Hebrew. Okay, so let us begin. Marty, you want to lead off for us, please?
Sure. וידבר השם אל משה לאמור, שלח לך אנשים ויחצו את ארץ כנען אשר אני נותן לבני ישראל, איש אחד ואיש אחד למטה אבותיו תשלחו כל נשים בהם.
Okay, and take one more.
וישלח אותם משה ממדבר פרן על פני השם כולם אנשים ראשי בני ישראל המה.
Good. Okay. Yochai, you want to take for us in English?
In English, okay. Okay, Hashem spoke to Moshe saying, send forth men, if you please, and let them spy out the land of Canaan, and I give to the children of Israel 1 man each from his father's tribe. Shall you send every one a leader among them? Moshe sent them forth from the wilderness of Paran at Hashem's command. They were all distinguished men, as of the children of Israel were they.
Okay. So right away Rashi points out, if you look back to page 796, what was the very last episode that took place in the previous Parsha of Bahalotcha? The previous episode was the Lashon Hara, that Miriam initiated, that she and Aaron spoke against Moshe. Okay? See, here we have, so Rashi brings the famous medrash that they spoke, that they did not take heed from the episode of Miriam. That Miriam spoke badly, spoke disparagingly, right? Lashon Hara could be true. I'm sorry, not could be true. Lashon Hara is defined as true derogatory information. Okay, true derogatory information. The justification everyone says is, but it's not Lashon Hara because it's true. Actually, if it's true, that's what defines it as Lashon Hara. If it's not true, it has a different label. Right? The label for that is Motzi Shem Ra. That you are Mamtzi. You are creating, you are fabricating this Shem Ra, this bad name. But Lashon Hara, speaking disparagingly about others, is defined as true derogatory information. So it's interesting that we're seeing that the sins at their essence are dibur, meaning speech related. And we've discussed before that what makes us uniquely human is our ability to speak. By creation, it says, Vayhi Adam lenefesh chaya, right? And man became this living creature. The Targum, the Aramaic translation written by Onkelos, translate as Ruach Memalala, a being that is Memalel, that is able to speak. Right? Speech is something that elevates mankind. Now, animals communicate. Bees do their dance, and ants, leave a scent in order to make that crazy row, of ants that one follow another. You have one, then two, then 10, 100, 1,000. Right? They all have means communicating. Chimps, they all communicate. But here we're talking about not just communicating in terms of survival, in terms of danger, in terms of mating. Here we're talking about communication in terms of taking what is inside of us and bringing it out. So whenever we have something which has the greatest potential for good, it also has with it the greatest potential for harm. Right? In the investment world, if you can make a lot of money, means you can lose a lot of money. Right? If you're not going to make a lot of money, then you're not going to lose a lot of money either. Right? That's how it works. And when it comes to Dibur, it has a tremendous ability for greatness, and it also has a tremendous ability for destruction. Okay? And Miriam, we saw before, and over here we're going to see that this sin of the Meraglim, this speech-oriented sin, is what took a short stint in the desert on our way to Israel and turned it into a 40-year process. Not only that, but when the Gemara in Ta'anit discusses, Ta'anit's all about fast days in general, and then it also focuses on the fast day we have coming up, the fast days we have coming up, which are Shiv Asar B'Tammuz, the 17th day of Tammuz, and Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av. Right? This year, both of them fall out on a Shabbos, and therefore the fast days get pushed off to Sunday. So the fast of Tisha B'Av is actually on the 10th of Av this year. But the Gemara discusses the different events that took place on those dates. And certainly in terms of the pattern that we have, that the fast days are all Jerusalem related, Yerushalayim related, besides the fast of Esther right before Purim. So the 17th of Tammuz is when the walls of Yerushalayim, of Jerusalem, were breached, and Tisha B'Av is the date when the temple, both Bayit Rishon, both the first temple and the second temple, were destroyed. But the Gemara also, the Mishnah actually also gives us other events that took place on those dates. On the 17th of Tammuz, that was also the date that Moshe came down 40 days after Har Sinai, after Mount Sinai. He came down 40 days later with the tablets, saw the sin of the golden calf, and Shvirat HaLuchot, and he shattered the tablets.
On the 17th of Tammuz.
On the 17th of Tammuz. That's the first, right? And on Tisha B'Av, that is when the spies, the scouts, came back with their slanderous report, and that was the night that we cried. The verses say that we were crying about not going into Israel, right? The crying was a detachment that we had from our connection to the land of Israel, and that became the night of Bechia Lidorot, of crying for all generations. The night that we cried about we don't want to go into Israel, that's the night that we cried about the destruction of the temple and our forced exit from Israel. And the crying is to make us realize that which we are missing. Just an interesting point that came up last night in a conversation I had with a group of people. When it comes to the 3 weeks, meaning those 3 weeks from the fast day of the 17th of Tammuz until the 9th of Av, there we have ever increasing levels of mourning, right? We start off starting with the 3 weeks. When the 3 weeks begin, so we won't have weddings, right? Men don't shave or get haircuts, and live music performances. As we continue on during those 3 weeks, we come to the 9 days, the last 9 days of those 3 weeks, and now we're not doing laundry, we're not eating meat, we're not drinking wine, right? We're not wearing the freshly laundered garments. The avelut, the mourning that we feel, is adding up. And then we come to the day before Tisha B'Av, and with actually the meal right before Tisha B'Av is called the Seuda HaMafseket, the meal that separates between the 9 days and Tisha B'Av itself. This year we don't because it's Shabbos, but normally we'll sit on the floor. We'll eat an egg as a mourner does, dipped in ashes. And then Tisha B'Av arrives, and there's no eating, drinking, there's no washing, there's no anointing, there's no engaging in marital relations, there's no leather shoes. We sit on the floor, we read the book of Eicha, of Lamentations. So we're building up in the intensity of our Avelut. Now, when it's real Avelut, meaning in a real case of mourning, when one of the 7 relatives for whom we mourn passes away, right, which is 2 up a generation, right, 2 down, 3, the 7 for which we mourn, there we are in very, very severe mourning until the actual burial. That's called an onain, and we don't do any mitzvot, we don't make any brachot, and we don't eat meat or drink wine, right, or bathe, etc. And then we go into after the burial, we go into the 7 days of mourning, and there we can eat meat and drink wine. And then we finish the 7 days, we go into the shloshim, and now already we can bathe and freshly laundered garments, and we take off the garments that we tore, the kriya, that we rent the garments. And then, right, in many cases that ends, the mourning period ends after 30 days. When it's for a parent, it continues on for 12 months. But once again, it gets diminished further as we transition from the shloshim, from the 30 days, into the 12 months. So how come by Tisha B'Av we're building up our avelut, our mourning, and how come in a case of an actual loss we keep diminishing? We keep diminishing our mourning.
I want to ask you also, what do you do when there's like a bris or something, like right before or even the 9 days? So you are supposed to be joyous.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
A bris we do on the 8th day. Whether it's whether it's the 3 weeks, whether it's the 9 days, whether it's Shabbos, whether it's Yom Kippur.
Party? Do you have a?
You wouldn't have live music, but you'd certainly have a seudat mitzvah. You wouldn't have live music there, but you would certainly have a
attend the bris in happiness.
Yes.
Simcha?
Yes.
Rabbi, the Shabbos
Yes.
before Tisha B'Av,
Yes.
that Shabbos, Friday night, what are the restrictions as far as food are concerned?
Okay, so even though we don't eat meat or drink wine during the 9 days, on Shabbat we do. So this year it's going to be, we're going to have 2 Shabbatot as part of the 9 days, and even the Shabbos that's Erev Tisha B'Av is a regular Shabbos. The only thing is, on the schedule, I double-checked, I did it correctly, and I did. We will daven Mincha early, 1:45. We will not have Su'udah here in Shul, because you need to finish before sunset, eating. So by 7:39, I checked this last night, by 7:39 you need to stop eating, and the fast begins, but Shabbos ends at 8:22, and that's when we have Ma'ariv and Eicha reading. And Havdalah this year will get pushed off until Sunday night. We can't make Havdalah Saturday night because it's Tisha B'Av. We can't eat Sunday night until you hear Havdalah. So we make Havdalah Sunday night. One year when it was on a Sunday, I was at the East Coast for Natalie's camp, and I went to visit my parents, Alayhim Shalom, are buried on Long Island. So I took a long drive, but I went to the cemetery, and I left, and I should have gotten back in time to break the fast. There was a crazy traffic, crazy water break. The Grand Central was closed, and so the fast had ended, but I couldn't make Havdalah. I never had to make Havdalah on. I'm stuck in a traffic jam, right? And so I ended up breaking my fast around midnight that night, getting back. It was, yeah. There's halacha that you can drink water before Havdalah. And I had some seltzer in the car. So I said, that's water and air. So I had some seltzer. I figured that was okay. But
Just water or any drink?
just water. Yeah.
Can you turn the cab light on for the light?
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
you say Baruch HaMavdil ben Kodesh L'chol?
Oh, so on Saturday night we need to say Baruch HaMavdil ben Kodesh L'chol.
Instead of like when your situation.
Exactly.
You do it.
Well, I already done that Saturday night. Although Baruch HaMavdil is what allowed me to drive and do everything on Saturday night, from Saturday night. We make a Baruch HaMavdil, but we don't make the full Havdalah ala kos. Havdalah, we do it on a cup of wine, which you can't do when it's Tisha B'Av.
Is it in August this year?
Yes,
August.
yes. I think August 13th,
14th.
14th.
Answering your question,
Yes.
is it because we mourn for the whole nation and that's when it's escalating, and here we're mourning for his
Okay. So nice. Racha wants to say the difference is between an individual mourning or a national mourning. Good.
Well, it's
Yocheved?
because of the individual mourning, the neshama needs it in the beginning, before he's buried, when he's buried the shloshim, because that's when he's judged in tikkun, and after that he's judged already, then he's still doing tikkun, so.
Okay. Yeah. So
the same thing.
So you need
also a
to
good
give the
answer
merit
is
to the neshama
right.
in the beginning.
The steps that we take with the burial and the shiva and the shloshim, they all mirror, right? Al pi Kabbalah, they mirror the different stages that the soul is going through in terms of reaching its resting place. So as the neshama is reaching a further place of rest, so too we diminish our mourning. Yeah, Dov.
It's easier to relate to people. It's hard to relate to a basic
Okay.
challenge.
Okay, so the explanation that I gave last night is, in the case of a death, right, we feel that loss, right? We feel that open wound, right? We are shattered, and what we need to do is slowly, gently, right? The halacha beautifully guides us back onto our feet and allows us, for whatever reason, God has continued to give us life, and we need to continue living. And therefore, we feel that loss in an overwhelmingly shattering way, and we need to slowly pick up the pieces and get ourselves back on our feet and move forward. So therefore, we gradually diminish the state of mourning. Whereas by the Chorban Beit HaMikdash, the problem is that we don't feel the loss. Right? Life is fine. Irvine is beautiful. Life is good. We don't feel the fact that we are in this exile that's lasted for thousands of years. We don't appreciate not having a Beit HaMikdash, meaning not having that connection with God. We don't feel it. And therefore, what do we need to do? We need to gradually bring ourselves to the point that we recognize that which we are missing. So the tears that we reach at the end are there to atone, so to speak, or not just to atone, that's a poor choice of word, to correct the tears of the children of Israel because of the Meraglim, because those were tears of a disconnect. And we need to gradually build ourselves up to the point where we feel the tears, where we cry and we sense the loss of what we no longer have. Let's go into over here though. There are a couple of different approaches that I'd like to go through. Let's read just in English. These are their names. Okay? And let's go through the names over here. Someone take a whole string for us in English. Starting with verse 4. Hey, volunteer? Eileen.
Okay. These are their names. For the tribe of Reuben, Shammua son of Zakur. For the tribe of Simeon, Shaphat son of Hori. For the tribe of Judah, Caleb son of Jephunneh. For the tribe of Issachar, Yigal son of Joseph. For the tribe of Ephraim, Hoshea son of Nun. For the tribe of Benjamin, Palti son of Rachu. For the tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel son of Sodi. For the tribe of Joseph, for the tribe of Manasseh, Gadi son of Susi. For the tribe of Dan, Amiel son of Gamali. For the tribe of Asher, Sethur son of Michael. For the tribe of Naphtali, Nabi son of Vafsi. For the tribe of Gad, Geul son of Machi.
One more.
These are the names of the men whom Moses sent to spy out the land. Moses called Hoshea son of Nun Joshua.
Okay, so 3 points I want to look at over here. First of all, the order seems strange. Ruvain, okay, that's good.
Firstborn.
Right, firstborn. Shimon, second one. Okay, Levi is left out, fair enough. Right? Yehuda, okay. Yisachar, okay, so we seem to be going with the sons of Leah so far. Then we jump to Ephraim, the son of, right? And then we go to Binyamin. Then we go back to, right, who are the children of, well, Ephraim is one of the sons of Joseph, who became a tribe. Benjamin, so a grandson of Rachel. And then we have Binyamin, the son of Rachel. Now we're doubling back to Zvulun, the sixth son of Leah. And now we go back to Joseph's Menashe. And over here, for some reason, we mention for the tribe of Joseph, the tribe of Menashe, that by Ephraim in verse 8, who also was of Joseph, we don't mention the tribe of Joseph, the son of the tribe of Ephraim. And then we go to Dan. Now Dan and Naphtali go together. Those are the sons of Rachel. We have Dan and Gad and Asher, the sons of Dan and Naphtali are the sons of Bilhah, and Gad and Asher are of Zilpah. We have Dan and then Asher and then Naphtali and then Gad. Right? The order seems to be very strange. And then Moshe changes Hoshea, the son of Nun's name, to Yehoshua. So the order seems very strange. We have Moshe changing Yeshua's name, and we have Menashe attributed to Joseph in verse 11, but Ephraim in verse 8, who's also the son of Yosef, is not attributed to Yosef. So let's try to unpack this a little bit. Ramban says the order here, as we pointed out, is not any order. It's not the tribes. It's not the birth. Right? There is no order here. What is the order? He says, it's the order of greatness, which is pretty resounding when we realize that Yehoshua or Hoshea changed to Yehoshua, who became the leader in place of Moshe, is number 5. So if we want to get a sense...
Is this the order of them or the order of the tribes?
The order of them. The order of individual greatness. So if Yehoshua is number 5, we're dealing with serious heavyweights over here. Serious heavyweights. Now, what is the connect? In what way is Menashe in verse 11, is he connected to Yosef, but Yehoshua from Ephraim in verse 8 would not be connected to Yosef.
He stands by himself, doesn't he?
Yes, but if we'll find fault in Yosef, where do we find fault in Yosef?
When the Lashon Hara, gossip.
Yosef brought dibatam ra'ah el avihem. Yosef brought all the bad things that could be said about the brothers were brought to his father. Right?
Gadi and Menashe also reported slander against Yisroel.
Good. Menashe, right, Gadi from the tribe of Menashe, he was one of the 10 spies who spoke disparagingly about Israel. Yehoshua and Caleb ben Yefuneh, right, they were the two who spoke on behalf, or who acted, let's see, we'll soon see, who acted on behalf of the land of Israel, who refused to succumb to this temptation, we'll see what that was, to speak badly about the land. So therefore, Menashe, Gadi, he is attributed to Yosef, but Ephraim is not. Now, Moshe called Hoshea bin Nun Yehoshua. So the Rashi explains, we have it over here in the English, right, and the notes on page 799, beneath the line there, 16, Moses prays for Joshua. Moses added the letter Yud to Hoshea's name, so that his name would begin with the letter of God's name, Yud Hey. The Hebrew name Yehoshua means God save or God will save, which signifies that Moshe prayed, may God save you from the conspiracy of the spies. This intimates that even before the mission began, Moses prayed that it would, or at least could, end disastrously. Nevertheless, he permitted to go because the people wanted, and God does not deny people their freedom of choice. Okay, so we have Moshe praying on behalf of Yehoshua. Now, at that point, everyone's calling Hoshea, don't call me Hoshea, call me Yehoshua. Right? At that point, right? So it's very clear that Yehoshua is aligned differently than the others. Now, they all went, and Moshe told them, ascend here in the south, climb the mountains, see the land, how is it? Are the people there strong or weak, few or numerous? How the land in which it dwells? I turn to 801, good or bad? How are the cities? Okay. Just 1 second. Now, 21. They ascended. Just 1 second. Yeah. Let's take Psukim Chaf Aleph and Chaf Bet in Hebrew. Okay?
Which is 21?
21 and 22 in Hebrew, please. Okay, so far, okay, Vayalu, that's in plural. They ascended. Vayaturu, plural, and they scouted. Et ha'aretz, the land, from the wilderness of Tzin until Rehov, coming to Hamat. Continue, thank you, Ruti. Vayalu. Good. Vayalu, plural, and they ascended to the Negev. Vayavo, not vayavo'u, not and they came. Vayavo, singular, and he came until Chevron, and there was Achiman, Sheshai, Talmai, Lernak, and Chevron, etc., etc. Who is he? Right? It's been plural, plural, plural. Now it's he came to Chevron. Rashi explains. Chaf bet vayavo ad Chevron, Caleb levado halach sham. Only Caleb went there. Benishtateach al kivrei avot. And he bowed himself down onto the gravesite of the patriarchs, shelo yehi nisat lechaveirav liyot ba'atzatam, that he should not be seduced along with his friends to be included in their plan. So we have Moshe praying for Yehoshua, and we have Moshe changing Yeshua's name, and we have Caleb offering his own personal tefillah, prayer. Now, Caleb had gone undercover. No one knew. No, it was me, don't worry. No one knew what was going on inside of Caleb's mind. Now let's take from 25. Take a string in English, please, someone. They returned?
But question. All the spies went all over Israel. They all of them saw the land. Or
Yes.
only Caleb saw.
They all saw. Caleb took a little detour, right? He went to Hebron, went to the burial ground of the patriarchs, and then doubled back and rejoined everybody. So he went off on his own little expedition, and then he rejoined the crew.
Didn't Joshua also go there?
We don't see that. Vayavo,
He saw the,
singular.
it says here that he saw the giants, but he really didn't speak about it after.
Yeah, that's correct.
I have a question about
Caleb.
I have a question about the one before. That we said that it's in order, but what about all the people that are before? Like there is Reuven. Why is he first?
It seems that those people, Shamua ben Zakur was the greatest of the lot. Second in greatness was Shaphat. The third was Caleb. Fourth was Yigal. Fifth was Hoshea, Yehoshua, etc., etc. This was their greatness.
Yeah, but because we never heard about all
Yes.
these people besides Caleb and Yehoshua, we didn't hear about these
Yes.
two other ones that are seem
Ye-
like more important.
They were greater, but they failed miserably on this mission. Right? But according to Ramban, the fact that they are listed first shows that they were the most righteous at that point, until things went south quickly.
Because we never hear about them. And
Yeah, well, again, they imploded, basically, over here.
You can mention every name, great name.
Yeah, yes, though.
I just want to bring up something. At the very beginning, Hashem didn't really command them.
Correct.
Yet Moshe took
If
it
you
as a
wish,
commandment,
correct.
Which
Correct.
is kind of strange.
Correct.
What-
Now, verse 25. Someone in English, please. They returned from spying out the land.
They returned from spying out the land, and at the end of 40 days, they went and came to Moses and to Aaron and to the entire assembly and the children of Israel to the wilderness of Paran at Kadesh, and brought back the report to them and the entire assembly, and they showed them the fruit of the land.
Keep going. They reported
They
to him.
reported to him and said, "We arrived at the land which you sent us, and indeed it flows with milk and honey, and this is the fruit." But
So far, so good, right? And whenever, right, you always have to start off with some truth. If you want to mislead, the only way to mislead is mix in truth. They started off with truth,
But isn't it...
right?
Okay.
But
the people that dwells in the land is powerful. The cities are fortified and very great. And we also saw there the offspring of the giant, Amalek, dwells in the area of the south. The Hittite, the Jebusite, and the Amorite dwell on the mountain. And the Canaanite dwells up by the sea and on the bank of the Jordan.
okay, so and by mentioning Amalek, you know you're going to be striking fear into people's hearts.
But didn't
Okay.
they report exactly what they saw?
so that's the truth, but it's
But
Well, okay.
Right, they were requested
exactly.
to
They
bring
had-
information.
because they didn't
exactly.
Okay, okay.
Information.
Okay. Good points.
It's going to war, so...
They should be prepared.
Okay, good.
They know
Good.
they're going.
So what's wrong, you're asking? What did they do wrong?
So-
Good.
At this point, they haven't done anything.
According to some, we'll explain in a few minutes. Let's read a little bit further. According to some, until this point they haven't done anything wrong. According to others, they've already turned. They already made the turn. But we'll discuss it in a moment. Let's read. I just want to read through to through verse 1. Continue. Caleb silenced.
Caleb silenced the people toward Moses and said, "We shall surely ascend and conquer it, for we can surely do it." But the men who had ascended with him said, "We cannot ascend to the people, for
Here
it is too
it's they
strong
made
for us."
wrong.
They brought forth to the children of Israel an evil report on the land that they had spied out, saying, "The land through which we have passed, to spy it out, is a land that devours its inhabitants. All the people that we saw in it were huge. There we saw the Nephilim, the sons of the giant, from among the Nephilim, and we were like grasshoppers in our eyes, and so were in their eyes."
Okay, now it's all
The
clear.
entire assembly raised up and issued its voice. The people wept that night. Okay.
Well, now it's clear.
Okay.
Now it's
So, according to some, now they were sent to spy out the land. What do you want from them?
It's
So
their
some
opinion.
some explain they were meant to bring back
Information,
facts,
but not opinion.
not to editorialize, right? And that's where they went off, right? We cannot ascend to the people; it's too strong for us, right? It's not us; it's God. It's too strong for God, right? Now, according to Ramban, actually back already in verse 28, Ephes, but. That long dash. That is where they were saying, but we can't do it. That's already where they made their turn. Okay? But I want to look at verse 30. Vayahas Caleb et ha'am el Moshe. Caleb silenced the people towards Moshe. A little bit awkward, right? So Rashi explains, based on the Medrash, Vayahas Caleb, Caleb silenced them, El Moshe, towards Moshe, right? Meaning he wanted them to hear what he was going to say about Moshe. But remember, Caleb had just ducked out. Moshe hadn't changed his name. He just ducked out to Hebron. No one knew why he went. No one had any inkling that he was not on their side. So what did he do? Tzavach va'amar. He started to shout. And he said, V'chi zu bilvad asalana ben Amram. Is that all that the son of Amram did to us? So everyone thought, he's one of us. He's going to join the fray in lashing out at Moshe. Hashemei yasavur shebal l'safer v'gnuto. Everyone listening thought, oh, right, he's got the bullhorn now, and now he's going to be shouting out against Moshe. Now everyone had already been all riled up by the Meraglim, by the others, and they thought now they wanted to hear bad about Moshe. So they all silenced to hear what acrimony was he going to add on, what oil was he going to throw into the fire. And he said, what else did Moshe do to us? Karolanu et hayam, he split the sea. Horid lanu et haman, brought down for us the manna. Hegiz lanu et haslav, he's brought us the quail. Right? That's what Moshe has done to us. And he said, Alon na'aleh, right? We will ascend. V'yarashnu, and we will conquer it. We will inherit it. Ki yachol nuchal la. We can do it. We are able. So we have Yehoshua, who seemed to be at them, against them from the start, and therefore was not given the mic over here. And we have Caleb, who took a different approach. Caleb went undercover, so to speak. He seemed to be part of the group, and then at the last minute, very, very radically, right, now he shows his true colors and tries to turn the tide.
Was he given this assignment to go under the cover?
It doesn't. It seems that's what he chose to do. Now, there are two different approaches that a person can take if they are in an environment that is running contrary to who they are, to what they believe, to what they feel they should be doing. There is the Yehoshua approach, the Chavetz Chaim explains this, and there is the Caleb approach. The Yehoshua approach is, you guys are wrong, I've got nothing to do with you. Right? Now, that's one approach that one can take. Another approach, now, and the danger with that is, right? You're butting heads with everyone, right? They're coming at you, right? It can be dangerous. It could even be physically dangerous. But at the same time, you've staked out your ground, you've established your position, and the more they come at you, to a certain degree, the stronger you become, because you've dug in your heels, you're standing your ground. That's one approach. Now, a person might say, you know something? I can't take that conflict. I don't want to take that conflict. I'm going to act like I'm going along. In my heart, I know I'm different. In my heart, I'm not together with them. But externally, I'm going to make it look like I'm one of the boys, I'm one of the girls, I'm part of the gang. I'm no different than everyone else. The benefit there is no one's coming at you. The danger is that you might actually, right, you do it along with them for long enough that starts to become like you. These are, now, Yehoshua was in possible physical danger. What did Moshe do? He prayed Hashem should save you from these meraglim. Caleb was in more spiritual danger. By acting as if he's going along with them, he might actually go along. He might be convinced. He might just go with the flow. So what did he do? He went and he prayed to Hashem quietly, privately, to give him, right, the inner strength to not succumb. Right? And both of them were successful. The whole generation, the meraglim died a very bitter, ugly death, and that whole generation that cried didn't enter the land of Israel. Who were the two exceptions? Yehoshua and Caleb. Which path is the right path? Every person needs to assess themselves, their strengths, and the situation that they are in, and see what is the best path to take for me and who I am with who I am as a person with my strengths and my weaknesses in a given situation. How am I best to stay true to who I am and what I'm about? Yes, Dov.
Isn't it kind of what they did was something like, instead of like a military thing should be like closed doors? Didn't they kind of like go to the mic of CNN before they reported to their superiors? And broadcast failed?
Yeah, that's also, yes. Yeah, you know, according to some, it was the murmuring in the tents. Right? In front of Moshe, they were pretty ambiguous. They right? But then once they had their little groups, that's when they really got onto their soapbox land.
So here it's interesting in the order, because it's the son of Hur is the second one, right? Shimon is number 2. So he was number 2 great. But in the exact situation where you're saying go along or go with the flow, so go along with the golden calf was in Joshua's point of view, was Hur. No, he didn't go along. Yeah, Hur didn't go along, and he got killed.
Yeah.
For the golden calf, and then Aaron is like Caleb. Aaron
In a
went
way,
like
yeah.
Caleb, and then he went along.
Yeah.
Because that's how they got the golden calf.
Yeah.
But so it didn't work out too well for them.
That's
both.
what. That,
I mean,
good point.
ended up getting murdered.
Right.
And then they wanted to murder him too.
Aaron.
No, in this case,
yes.
Caleb.
Yeah.
Like, they actually all wanted to shut him down and saying.
Now, but let me just say. Let me just toss in there.
They wanted to pelt him.
Did Hur do the right thing? Maybe he did the right thing.
What did he do?
He stood up against them, those who wanted to do to make the golden calf, and he was killed by them. Right? Did he do the wrong thing? I don't know.
He did the right thing.
I don't know.
But at the end of the day, they did build the golden calf, and he wasn't around.
Correct. I don't know.
What good is he if he's not here?
You know something? I've got to do all that I can do. I've got to stand up in their way. Perhaps his standing up, right, slowed them down a little bit, put doubt in some other people's minds, or even it didn't, right? I can't go along. Right?
I mean, I'm not voting one or the other, but I'm saying it's the same scenario.
Yes, and there are different approaches, and it's hard to know who did the right thing, right? Was it effective? No. Was it the right thing? Right? Do we only do the right thing if it's going to be effective? Right?
What if other people joined Hur and maybe they wouldn't have built?
Yeah.
What if there was no resistance during the Second World War?
No, I know. Well, there was. There was. Not what if there was resistance. There was resistance. There was
By who?
By who besides him?
Well, we don't. I'm just going according to the details of what we're reading. So I don't know more than what we've given.
I agree with you that over there we see the two approaches, and a person's has to decide for themselves what do they feel is the best approach. But I'm not so quick to
say that is the best approach.
Yeah, the Hur's approach was wrong. It's not so clear. Yes, Janet.
I'm late to the party. I know that. The other thing that becomes clear from this is that it's possible, if you can have the spiritual strength, to be that sort of middle ground, is less polarizing. You'll more often be able, when it comes time and it may count, that you'll be given the opportunity to speak out, the pulpit.
As happened with Hur.
You're less.
As happened with Caleb.
You're less polarized.
Right. Caleb was given the mic. Yeah. That's
so if you bide your time, you might be saving it to pick your battles.
Yeah. Again, I'm not right. These are all possibilities.
It's in the divine plan, no matter which way we plan out, because God's plan is His plan, and then it's where do we sit at the
exactly.
end of the day.
What role do we decide to play? Yeah. But we control our role. We don't control the outcome. Yafi.
I don't know. I see it much more simple. The Meraglim came back with facts of what they saw. I think that the Bnei Israel had to be punished for and continue and do the 40 years in the desert because they took the facts and did not believe in Hashem's,
But that's only how the Meraglim presented it, though.
But they came with the facts. What Bnei Israel should have done is to say, okay, these are the facts, but we believe in God and His strength. He promised that we will go into Israel.
So are you saying that the Meraglim shouldn't be blamed at all?
No, Am Israel should be blamed, but not that.
And they are, but the Meraglim also, right? Look at verse 31. We cannot ascend. They're too strong. They editorialize. Had they just given the facts?
They saw that they are very strong.
But they
didn't say that. They said it's too strong. They didn't say strong. They could say too strong is already giving your opinion, right? Right? Strong, yes. So very good. They're strong. So let's figure out how we should do it.
Still, you can have your opinion, but
they weren't sent to editorialize.
Am Israel should have perceive and believe deeply in his heart that that there is God.
I agree
there
with
is
you that
God there,
I agree with
and
you,
He will
Yafi.
have them
Yisroel, I
go
agree.
into
Yisroel
Israel.
was responsible.
Because they did not do it, they
I
will be
agree.
punished.
I agree with you about Yisroel being responsible for right. But at the same time, the Meraglim clearly were saying we can't do it. We cannot ascend, right?
People tend to
All right,
confuse them with
right.
Israel.
Lo nuchal la'alot el ha'am ki chazak hu mimenu. They're not blameless. I don't see them as being blameless at all.
Because people tend to put a good deal of stock in the word of their leaders, and these were
Yeah.
leaders who were
Yeah.
chosen.
Yes.
And just in Yafi, there's another take on it as well. You talking about a physical, they're too strong, we're not going to be able to do it in an army physical sense. But there's also a spiritual sense to that exact same argument, but the exact opposite. Because these were great people, they listed them in order of greatness. So it's not like these were the bums of Bnei Yisrael who were sent to spy. These were the greatest of the great who were sent to spy. And
That's profound influence.
spiritually, they were looking at it and thinking, you know what? In the desert, we've got the manna, we're close to God, we learn Torah all day long. We're going to go to the land and then we're going to have to farm, we're going to have to fight these people physically. We're not going to survive physically because spiritually, when are we going to have time to be spiritual? Because we're going to have to now
that's
take
how some approach this.
physical time to be, we're going to have to be very physical. Right here in the desert, we're being very spiritual. And then they probably thought, I've just heard it as a different take. We are not going to be able to survive our spirituality in this physical world of not learning Torah all day, not having our manna from heaven. We're going to forget
There's going to be a
about
step
God.
down.
So we should rather stay here in the desert. So they said the land's too big for us, too consuming. It will consume us spiritually. So it's just a different take on the explanation. Which means they're not so so they were trying to save
there was some
Israel.
l'shem shamayim, but often when there's l'shem shamayim means for the sake of heaven. Often when there's a little bit of sake of heaven, that's when it gets really dangerous.
That becomes
Right, when it gets a little bit
I
twisted.
look at it like
Yeah, I just want to bring up another point though, a beautiful idea from Rav Hirsch. If you look at page 816, the very last part of the Parsha, the bottom half of 816 is the whole Parsha of Tzitzit. Yom Hashem Moshe Mor Deber Yisrael Matal Lem Asulen Tzitzit. Agnu Yidem Dor Taman Atu Al Tzitzit Akanaf Atil Techel V'Yalachem LeTzitzit Uritem Oto. It's all about the Tzitzit, right? The commandment of the Tzitzit, the fringes on the edge of our garments. Okay, and the third paragraph that we say as Shema is this exact paragraph at the end of the Parshat Shlach. So Rav Hirsch brings a very beautiful explanation. What is the connection between tzitzit and the Meraglim? And let's go back, right? So we have different mitzvot that we do on our body, right? The tefillin goes on our body. Shabbat is what we do. This is a mitzvah on our garments, right? The garments, a four-cornered garment, needs to have on it the tzitzit. Where does that come from? What is the root of that? So what is the root of garments? When did we start with garments? In the garment of Eden, yes though, right? In the Garden of Eden, right? And in Hebrew, it's fascinating, we mentioned before, what's the Hebrew word for a garment? Beged. Bagad. The same letters, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, which is the shorish, the root for garment, it's also bagad. Rebellion. It's also rebellion. Right? What happened? They rebelled. Who rebelled? Begidah.
No, it's betrayed.
Betray. Fair enough. Betrayal. Okay? What happened? Adam and Chava, they betrayed the mission that they were given in the Garden of Eden. They were literally, we use the expression, they're living in Gan Eden, right? I'm saying in Irvine we're in Gan Eden, we're in the Garden of Eden. They were literally in Gan Eden. And there was one restriction, and they betrayed, I think also rebellion, but they betrayed and they ate from there. As a result of that bigida, they needed a beged. Why? Because what a garment?
Bigida, beged.
Betrayal, rebellion, Bet Gimel Dalid is the same root for the word betrayal or rebellion, and also for garment.
It's a covering.
Okay? Now,
Rebellion is marad. Rebellion is marad, is merida.
okay.
It's completely
Okay.
different.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree completely different. Okay. Okay. Betrayal. Fair enough. Okay. Now, a garment is also called a levush. Right? Levush is also the term for a garment. Levush. For the one who is bush, which means embarrassed. Right? So garments, the two terms we have for garments, beged and levush, both, one speaks of betrayal and the other one speaks of shame, of embarrassment. Because of the betrayal, they needed to, they felt this sense of shame, embarrassment, and they needed to be covered. So we have Adam and Chava. Now the tzitzit on the garment are meant to remind us, right? My elevator pitch, right? Excuse me, why do you have those strings sticking out of your pants? Right? Right? So an elevator pitch, and what is this about? Is these are the loose strings of the garment that we tie into knots. Okay? Meaning, if we'll view this world as the garment of God, meaning, what does a garment do? A garment conceals but reveals. Right? It conceals, you don't see the skin here, but at the same time it reveals that there is something underneath there. It reveals the form, the outline of that which is there. The garment conceals and reveals. What does this world do? It conceals and reveals God. Right? You look outside, I don't see God, but you see the incredible intricacy and incredible intelligence that is in everything in this universe, whether it's on the macro scale of how all the planets are orbiting in the gravitational pulls, and if we were closer to the sun, we'd be incinerated a little further from the sun, we would be frozen over. Right? And on the micro level, what's going on in a single cell puts any factory to shame, and it keeps reproducing its own fact. I mean, right? The world is the garment of God. It conceals and it reveals. So the garment of God, so to speak, has some loose ends. Meaning, God did not make this world complete. He left it for us to tie the knots. He left it for us.
What's the word for knot in Hebrew?
Kesher. Yeah. He left it for us to partner. Right? Na'aseh Adam, we partner in this world. So we have Adam and Chava, which led to the idea of the tzitzit, which was a betrayal of being put into a Gan Eden, and instead of utilizing, maximizing that placement, that existence, but created a negative by going against the command and eating from the Eitz Hadat Tov V'Ra. And in a similar vein, Rav Hirsch says, we have the Meraglim, that they were sent into the Gan Eden. They were sent into Artseinu HaKadosha. They were sent into the land of Israel. And again, they repeated that error of latching onto, focusing onto the negative, and the same way that the sin of Adam and Chava led to their being sent out from the Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden. so too the sin of the Meraglim, as we began, led to us not entering the land for 40 years, and ultimately, Tisha B'Av, ultimately the destruction of the first temple, the destruction of the second temple, and our being sent out. And it all emanates from this, I think Rabbi France says very beautifully, that actually the Lashon Hara is not a sin, speaking disparagingly, it's not a sin of the mouth. It's a sin of the eye. Right? What do we see? If we look around us and see only beautiful people, only righteous, only wonderful B'nai Adam, if we look around us and we see the beauty and the blessings that we have, so what's there to speak bad about? The problem is in our eye. When we see that which we can have and want to have it, when we focus on the negative, when we're surrounded by things that we can't do, that be too strong for us, we can't succeed, we can't, it's a sin of the eye. That's what sets the stage for the Lashon Hara. So what we need to focus on is seeing the Tov, having that Ayin Tov, and then if we have that Ayin Tov, then the Lashon Tov is what naturally follows and flows from that. Okay, we'll call it over here.
So the tzitzit is the cure
Yes.
to the ailment.
Yes. Yes.
Why a cure?
Yes.
Why a cure?
The realization that we're living in the world that's God's garment, and we say by the tzitzit, you'll see it, and you remember to do all of the mitzvot. You remember why we're here, where we are, and why we're here.
So if you're the second type of person who is going to bide your time and not